Yo, what is up, YouTube? Back with my weekly reaction to the NFL Power Rankings. This is made by the NFL, not ESPN, not anybody else, because frankly, I don't trust anybody else besides the NFL. ESPN, Yahoo, they have some weird NFL Power Rankings, that's all I gotta say. But, starting with week 4, we're gonna go over this today, but I just want to show you week 3, where everybody was, with Baltimore number 1, the Chiefs number 2, the Packs number 3, Steelers 4, Seahawks 5. Who cares about the rest of them? And then we go to the very bottom, and I believe we have the Jets at 32, the Giants 31, Dolphins 30. We're gonna have to see if this moves. Lions, we're gonna have to see what happens to that. So let's look at week 4. Obviously, these two teams play each other, and if you didn't watch it, the Chiefs won the game by a landslide. So obviously, number 1, the Chiefs. They destroyed the Ravens in Baltimore. It was basically, one of the biggest losses for the Ravens, maybe Lamar Jackson's career, besides that playoff loss at Tennessee. This was an embarrassing loss for the Ravens. We got to wonder if they're number 2. But the Chiefs, they look unstoppable. Probably 16-0. All right, number 2. Ooh, we don't even have the Ravens. We have the Packers. And they do deserve the number 2 spot because they have scored over 35 points in every game this season. They've beaten the Saints and just look dominant on offense, on defense. This team overall is very good. Probably the best team in the NFC. And number 3, we have Baltimore. They dropped 2 spots because of that 34-20 loss against the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. Absolute dominant game. We gotta wonder if Baltimore is gonna lose other games, but their schedule is so easy that I don't even see it happening. Maybe they'll lose at New England. I believe they play at New England. They'll probably lose that game. Because the Patriots aren't even bad. They play the Titans, could lose that one. They play the Steelers, could lose both of those or one of those. We're going to see. Number 3 makes sense. Number 4, once again, Steelers didn't move, but they're number 4. There's a lot of reason why. Their entire team is complete. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. Defensive line is the best in the league. And the offense, when it was down by 11 points to the Texans, it stepped up, scoring touchdowns with James Conner, Eric Ebron, Juju. This team definitely deserves number 4. Number 5, obviously the Seahawks makes sense. The thing about the Seahawks, though, is that their defense is, it's horrible. It's given up mass amount of points to decently good teams like the Cowboys and the Patriots, but they end up winning the game because of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, in my opinion, is the front runner for the NFL MVP right now. He's got back-to-back 5 touchdown games. Like, this dude's a monster. So, Seahawks deserve number 5. Number 6, it makes sense. Their defense, just like the Seahawks, they're playing pretty bad. Like, there's no doubt in that. Compared to last season, the Bills had a really good defense. Their defense right now, it's not playing too good. That's all I gotta say. But their offense, that's a different story. Their offense wasn't elite last year, and now it is. Josh Allen is an absolute monster. He's leading the league in receiving and passing yards and stuff. He's just an absolute monster. Stephon Diggs, a big contributor. The Bills, I gotta say, they got very lucky in this game against the Rams. In my opinion, that pass interference was non-existent. They didn't deserve the win, but they still ended up winning, starting 3-0 against a decent team, the Rams. And number 7, we had the Tennessee Titans, and we're gonna have to see what happens because this team freaking messed up bad. I'm sorry if I get this story wrong, but I believe that a coaching staff member for the Titans was tested positive for Corona before they left to play the Vikings on Sunday. They still bring him to Minnesota, and now the team's got Corona. Like, how stupid are you? Like, honestly. But still, this team's defense is so bad right now. It's playing really bad. It's ranked 29th in the NFL. It's giving up mass amount of points, just like the Seahawks and the Bills. And their offense is keeping them in the games. This record is debatably 3-0. And number 7, we're gonna have to see. I don't buy number 7 right now, because I think of many teams are better than them. Well, number 8, we have the Patriots, and that is fitting. They beat the Raiders, who were lightning hot week 2. They almost beat the Seahawks, and they're scoring a great amount of points compared to last year, where Tom Brady wasn't even scoring good for this offense. Their defense has gotten worse because of the opt-outs. The people just left. So this team overall, of course, did a good job. It did a good job defending Darren Waller, and he just got very limited. This team knows what it's doing. Number 9, we have the Rams, who debatably should be higher. And if it weren't for that pass interference, just like I said, the Rams would be 3-0 right now, and they would have beaten the Bills on the road. Number 9, I think this team is better than the Bills, better than the Patriots. We're just going to have to see what happens. Unfortunate loss for the Rams. Number 10, the Buccaneers. Whoa, we don't want to see number 11 yet. Number 10 makes sense. The Buccaneers are actually good. They're winning their division right now, which is surprising, considering the Saints are always the winners. They're leading the division with a 2-1 record. Tom Brady's offense is playing good with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, and the defense. That's all I gotta say. It's stepped up against 2 horrible teams back to back, but the defense is playing very nice. This team is debatably a contender for the Super Bowl. Number 10 is fair. 11, the Colts. So I'm not really a fan. Sure, the Colts had the number one ranked defense in the league for some reason, but they played the 2 worst teams in the league. So they beat the Jets. No surprise, they beat the Jets, who are probably the worst team in the league. They beat them, and everyone's saying the Colts are a Super Bowl contender. Like, really? They beat the Jaguars. No, they lost to the Jaguars week 1, and they beat a horrible Minnesota Vikings offense, struggling offense week 2. The defense is overrated, and 11 is fitting for now. But I guess it makes sense. Still overrated. Number 12. They rose up 2 after the injury. Nick Mullins stepped up in replace of Garoppolo. It's a pretty good job there. The offense was dominant. Defense was dominant. With all those injuries, he thought this team was gonna, drop even more, but it goes up 2 because the team played nice against the Giants, the worst team in the NFC. So, a team we haven't even seen yet, the Saints. They were top 3 week 1, but they're number 13 now. 13. They dropped 10 spots since week 1 because of the losses they've had to 2 lightning hot teams, the Raiders and the Packers. And I think this is a big, over-exaggeration. 13 is really bad. They lost to the best team in the NFC at home, but that was without Michael Thomas, their only good player in that passing game. And we saw that Kamara had to single-handedly carry this offense against the Packers. With Michael Thomas back, this team is going to be a lot better, and 13 is just a very bad ranking right now. So number 14, we got the Cardinals. They dropped 1 because they lost at home to the Lions, and I thought the Cardinals were legit until they lost to the Lions. The Lions, of course, should be ranked higher, but we got to wonder why they lost to the Lions. Honestly, you got to wonder why. He threw picks in this game. He threw 3 interceptions, I believe. He still played obviously, Kyle Murray played a very nice game. He had that highlight touchdown, but you got to wonder why. So, 15. We got Cleveland. Oh, man. They beat the Bengals week 2, and they beat the Washington football team week 3. The probably 2 or 3, like those are literally the worst teams in the league, and they beat them, and they're number 15. So this is a big overrated team, like really. All right, but number 16, this team, oh my, 3-0. This team is hype. That's all I gotta say, because of this man right here, Nick Foles. What a monster. Man, I just can't wait to see what happens. This team with Nick Foles at QB and a solid defense is contenders. Obviously, I don't think they're going to win the division because the Packers are in their division. But this team is a solid 5th or 6th seed wild card contender. And obviously, 16 is way too low. It's way too low. I believe the Bears should be up here somewhere. Like, better than the Colts, better than the 49ers. Debatably right here with the Rams and Buccaneers. 16 is too low. But we got the Cowboys at 17. And they dropped 6 spots because they got destroyed by the Seahawks. And literally they got destroyed. Their defense is so bad. Their offense, obviously it played a really bad Seattle secondary with injuries. And they couldn't even win because their defense is horrible. 1-2 record, they're winning their division. That's how sad the NFC East is. 17 is good for now. Number 18, Las Vegas. We're going to have to see what happens in the future, but this could be a big underrated team right here. They lost to the Patriots in New England. Like, are you expecting to win? No. 18, I think they should be ranked higher, maybe 13, 14. We're going to have to see in the future. This team's good, but they unfortunately have a hard schedule. 19. So the Chargers are at 19. They choked that touchdown, that last second play to win the game. They could have easily won that game if Eckler had better awareness, but he doesn't. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. 19. I think teams are better than the Chargers that aren't listed yet. So this is a horrible ranking because I bet number 20 is better. Number 20, the Vikings. You know, I think they're better than the Chargers. They almost beat the Titans at home. They choked that one hard. The Vikings are better than the Chargers, and I think this is fair for now, whatever. 21, the Texans. They play the Vikings. I think the Texans aren't a 21 team. That they're going to be higher. Like, week 17, they're going to be top 10. But what happened to the Texans is that they had the hardest opening schedule in the league. They played the Chiefs, Ravens, and then Steelers all in a row. Like, are you expecting to start 3-0 or at least win one of those? Of course not. 0-3, like, unfortunately, they have the hard schedule, but 21, that's horrible. Come on. 22, this team right here deserves to be higher. Deserves to be higher, and it's not. That's all I gotta say. This team deserves to be higher, and it's not. That's all I gotta say. So, number 23, the Eagles, who debatably are number 32 in the NFL right now. They tied the Bengals, who had the worst record in the NFL last year. They tied them. Almost lost if Carson Wentz didn't clutch up with that touchdown at the end of the game. But really, this team is horrible. That's all I gotta say. They deserve to be number 32. So 24, man, we got the Carolina Panthers, who actually go up because they got a lucky win over the Chargers. 24 is fair because, you know, it's 24, so I agree. 25, this team's actually pretty good. It had the Bills and the Patriots week 1 and 2, and they almost beat the Bills. So this team is going to be higher. It doesn't deserve 25, it deserves 20, or a little bit higher than 20. So we're going to see what happens with this team. It's definitely not a 25 team. We got the Tanks, the Jacksonville Tanks, 1 and 2. Man, I think they deserve it. That's all I gotta say. And oh my God, the best fans in the NFL, according to themselves, the Atlanta Falcons, who, I don't know, 28-3. That's all I gotta say. Imagine choking 20-point leads back to back to horrible. Sorry, not horrible, but decently good teams. Imagine being that bad. And we got the Bengals. They deserve to be higher than the Eagles. Eagles probably should flip spots with the Bengals. Like, really? Oh, that's all I gotta say. The Broncos. Yeah, this team isn't bad, but unfortunately, Drew Lock, he's out. Cortland Sutton's out. Von Miller's out. The injuries killed this team. Yeah, 29, whatever. The football team at 30 makes sense. They're horrible. The Giants at 31, obviously, they're horrible. And the freaking New York Jets. The two worst teams in the NFL, of course, are the New York teams. And how fitting is that? So, I mean, these power rankings make sense. I think the Eagles are ranked actually too high. Like, they should be 32. They're ranked too low. They should be top 15, maybe 17. They're ranked too low. They're ranked too low. They're ranked too high. Like, I agree with a lot of this, except, like, after 15, it gets a little questionable. So, the Steelers, Titans, they play each other, or do they, because of the COVID outbreak. So we're going to see what happens. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Adios.